very simple. There are two aspects to this meditation. The first one is please try and sit still. The first one is the actual meditation class, which is the transmission of Shakti or energy that helps everybody that attends these classes to build a strong chakra system inside themselves that'll give them a direct link to higher energy in the universe. We need that nurturing. We need the strength inside to stay centered, to stay balanced, keep our minds quiet, to hearts open, to be able to, use sexual energy to activate Kundalini. All of this is part of the meditation. And all I do in this meditation is I transmit what's called Shakti. That energy will nurture people in the class, help them to grow and help them to develop a spiritual life, help them to develop a chakra system, which is strong enough to have a spiritual life, and not only have a spiritual life, to be connected to spirit and have the internal strength to be able to work out one's karma in the world. So the meditation class is actually in two sections. The first one is the actual class, which is the transmission of Shakti energy, which helps people to develop that kind of system I'm talking about in themselves. The second part is usually me talking with questions and answers, stuff like that. And that kind of brings the esoteric nature of the class onto a practical level, how to use it every day in our lives, how to understand that living in the world and being part of the world is truly essential if we're going to have a spiritual life, and how to do all these things consciously, so that we're connected to spirit because the chakra system is open. At the same time, we are connected to life. And that connection, to both these areas really gives us the ability, to absolutely transform the human to the spiritual. Ultimately, life itself becomes the teacher. My job is not to be a guru. You understand? I say this all the time. And I really mean it. My job is to help people build systems in themselves so they can ultimately embrace the real guru. Flora, please try and sit still. It's really important. If you come late, come and sit still. My job is to help people build a system inside that is strong enough to where they can truly sit in front of the real guru. Life itself is the ultimate teacher. And we need to be connected to spirit. We need to be nurtured inside. We need to get the training that enables us to do this so that we can open and embrace life and let life teach us exactly what we have to learn in order to get closer to God. All of this works together. It takes time, it takes training, it takes a lot of development inside a human being. But the building of a chakra system enables one to be a point in a triangle, which not only, which a point in a triangle that enables us to connect life with higher energy in the universe. And that point in the triangle is located inside every single human being. All it takes is the development of a chakra system to be able to do what I'm talking about. So we'll have a meditation class now, and then, afterwards, if anyone has questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them, the greatest blessing you can give me is developing your connection with higher energy in the universe. That is the greatest gift that anyone can give a teacher. So let's have a class and let's really work at that and build that kind of connection. I'll be happy to try and answer. Does anyone have a question?
Yes, Stuart. It's Luc. I have a question.
Yes, Luke.
Um, how do we best make use of this opportunity in between the classes? You just explained what to do during the class. How do we best make use of it to integrate it into our life?
Well, I think that really has to do with the choices you make and what you do with your time and your energy, after the class. If you decide that, you're going to go out to some club and dance until 4 a.m. and get drunk, and you understand, just waste the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Conservation is really the key to this, about understanding the respect for the energy, how important the energy is for the choices you make, literally down to the kind of foods you eat, and everything you do becomes more conscious, and you realize that, we, in order to live during the day, we have to spend a lot of energy. You understand? And we come to these classes. I always kid around. It's like a car going to the gas station. If it runs out of gas, it's going to stop running. The classes are necessary to get the energy. How we spend the energy during the day is very important, because that determines, how much energy we have inside us and how much we have that can be used to the continuation of the development of a chakra system. So all of this works together. And I always tell people, look, to me, look, Genesis, creation, please try and sit still. Genesis, creation. I mean, that is going on every moment around us. All of the universe is being created around us. Everything around us is sacred. Life itself is sacred. And if and I'm not talking in a religious sense, dogmatic and all that, but in a spiritual sense, it's all sacred. It's all being created around us every single day of our lives. And if we recognize the miracle of life, the sacred nature of life, we begin to respect it, and we begin to make choices that are more conscious choices about how we want to spend our energy. And I mean, sometimes, I live near New York City, and I can go into the city and I see all these young people hanging around in bars, and sometimes it's very disconcerting to see people with all of that energy and where they spend it, and not understanding the essential nature of doing deep inner work, and then the conservation of that work, in the way we live the rest of the day. Doesn't mean we stop living. It doesn't mean we don't go to restaurants, go to theater, go to movies, we live. But while we're living, we're balanced inside. We consciously understand that if somebody gets upset with us, it's not going to help the situation if we get upset with them. All it's going to do is drain our energy out of us. And most people that get upset and angry and ego and all that crap, you understand? Most people are using it because, they look like minor league vampires. That's how they live. They consume other people's energies. So another choice we make is the kind of people we want to spend our time with. And frankly, I know, being around vampire, I've had to, in the last, years of my life, I make very real choices about the people that I allow to be close to me. And all of that is part of the conservation of energy. And you've got to understand that human beings, need energy. Most people don't get energy because they build a chakra system and connect with spirit. Most people get energy because they consume the energy of other human beings. They eat us. We have to get smart enough, wise enough, and balanced enough with enough strength in ourselves that doesn't allow that to happen because we are social creatures. That takes place after the meditation. During the meditation, we are getting the energy to build the chakra system that then gives us the consciousness and how to function every day in our lives.
Yes, it's very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope so. This is a very important element of this work. Conservation of energy, choices we make during the day, who we hang out with. You know, I mean, I've spent time, you know, in relationships where the person was very, very difficult. And it was costing me, and I always had this thing in my brain, well, I can help them. And then I finally discovered you cannot help people that don't want to help themselves. Can't do it. And that other idea, I'm going to save their life, I'm going to help them. You know, all it does is it consumes that we're being eaten alive by a situation. A person who is willing to help themselves, I don't care where they come from, what their economics, I've had street people study with me, I've taught in prisons, I've taught in all kinds of really pretty horrible situations, halfway houses and juvenile homes I've taught in. I don't care where people come from. My only interest, do they want to change? Do they want to grow? Do they want to do something about changing inside themselves? And if that's the case, they have me 1,000%. I will do everything that's within my power to help them. So, I mean, this is a very important element. And as you build a chakra system, your choices get clearer. You don't want to be around people that are just eating you alive. And they do nothing to change inside themselves. And most of the human race is that way. People consume each other. It's like a kind of cannibalism, energy cannibalism. And then you make a choice. There's a great word in the English, French, Spanish language, Italian, no. You know, it's a wonderful word to be able to, no, I don't want this. No. Bring me love. Bring me you wanting to change. Bring me something that nurtures me also, that really inspires me to spend time around you. And then there's the class. Then there's the filling station. Because no matter what we do during the day, we're going to spend energy. We need to replenish ourselves. So we have meditation, chakra work, learning how to use the craft of meditation so that we can not only fill ourselves, but get an abundance of energy that enables us to live our lives every day. I hope this is clear, you know, because this is such an important element. And not only learning, you know, meditation and spiritual, but just being a human being and having respect for oneself and self-worth. All of these things are so important. And yet, sometimes we can't avoid it. I mean, I've always told this story. I'll tell it again because it's a wonderful story. When I was younger, I used to work in bars, restaurants. I was worked as a waiter, bartender, you know, for 2 or 3 years, my early 20s. It was an easy place for me to find a job, and I never wanted to work in an office in a corporation. I never could think of doing that. And I worked in a restaurant. I'll never forget this place. where I couldn't go to the bartender and ask him for a whiskey sour without getting into a fight with him. And to me, it was amazing. And I used to hear my teacher say the kind of things I was saying today, I've been saying today. And I would go, give me, and suddenly there would be, over something stupid, some little piece of fruit or this or some idiotic thing. And one day I'm standing at the bar and he's talking to one of the other waiters about going out and meeting his girlfriend to have a midnight dinner. And I just looked at him and I just said, this woman must be a saint. This woman must be some kind of an extraordinary character that she can not only go out and have a midnight dinner with this guy, she can sleep with him, she can spend time with him. I said, Stuart, you are missing something in this guy that she sees. I'll never forget this. And I suddenly began to see this human being in a different light. I never had another fight with him again. In fact, for the rest of the time I worked in that restaurant, we would stand around and talk about this and that and all kinds of stuff. It completely changed the way I looked at him. Just this girlfriend of his who could go out and have a midnight dinner with this guy. This guy, to me was impossible. And it changed. And then I began to realize every human being has the seed of God in them. Every human being has something you can love about them. And we have to get big enough inside ourselves to find that connection with life. Okay. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I hope it's clear. Well, oh man, I don't know. I got this new computer and it's some kind of problem with it in Zoom. It keeps, anyway, we're back again. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I hope it's clear. Some of you are new to this work, but mastering this kind of meditation I teach is all inclusive. It's not just learning mantras and Sanskrit and how to paint Tibetan tankas. And it's truly building a connection between life and spirit. And that connection is inside every single human being. We just have to build an inner life that is strong enough to do it. And that's my job. My job isn't to be a guru. I've been there, I've done that. It really is a bore. My job is to help people learn how to build that kind of connection, which exists inside every single human being who's willing to work and develop an inner life to get it. So God bless you all, and thank you. Thank you for being here, being part of this. Your presence, as I say all the time, is my teacher. And it really helps me to grow in my life and to really develop the kind of consciousness that I find is essential, to living connected to higher energy and to just living in the world. So God bless you all and thank you. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, we'll have another class on Thursday. Can I ask just a few people? I know in Europe, it's night now. And some of you are very dark, sitting in very dark rooms, and it's very difficult to see you in the class. So try to get yourself lit. Like Leisha, you really need to get yourself lit. You have a very beautiful face, and I want to see it, okay? So get yourself lit in the class. And there's a few other, Flora, you too, and now you're lit. But please do that so I can, and Paul, you're a little bit dark there also. So, and Evie, you're dark. Try to get a room where there's light on you. And otherwise it's very difficult in the class for me to work with you, to transmit the Shakti. So try and do that. Try to prepare that before you come to class. And thank you, and God bless you all. And hopefully I'll see everybody on Thursday.
Thank you too. God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.